good, Molly?
Yep.
All set?
Yes, and just introduce the usual.
Absolutely. So, Trooper Joe Sudarellis with the State Police Public Information Office. Thank you all for attending today's briefing. Excuse me. Trooper Joe Sudarellis with the State Police Public Information Office. Thank you all for attending today's briefing. Please understand that the information that I'm getting ready to share is preliminary and subject to change. But in the interest of transparency, we wanted to come out and provide you guys with as much information as possible. This morning, detectives from the Western District Major Crime Squad were requested by the New Haven State's Attorney's Office to respond to this area here in the city of Hartford for an officer-involved shooting. This stems from an incident that occurred shortly after 9 a.m. this morning, where members of the Safe Streets Task Force were in the area conducting an ongoing investigation and came into contact with a known suspect here in the area of Enfield Ave. Now, the Safe Streets Task Force members comprises of local law enforcement departments, state police, as well as the FBI. During the course of this incident, task force members came into contact with the subject of this investigation and were able to place him under arrest. At this very same time, while taking this subject into arrest, or the suspect into arrest, a secondary subject became involved in exchange of gunfire with officers here at the scene. Now, the ID of this subject will not be disclosed at this time. We are waiting for the notification to family, as well as the notification to family, as well as the autopsy to be concluded by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner's Office. Again, this information is really really new, really fresh, and anytime there is a loss of life, especially in our community, it's tragic to say the least. But again, we wanted to come out and just provide you guys with as much information as possible at this stage in our investigation. And again, I'll try to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Just to clarify, there was an arrest, and then there was a secondary person became involved, and that person has been killed. Correct.
The association of this secondary subject, the association that this secondary subject may have with the individual that was arrested earlier on this morning is unknown at this time. But you're correct. That secondary subject became involved with officers in an exchange of gunfire, was transported to the hospital as a result of the injuries sustained during the course of the incident, and unfortunately succumbed to injuries.
That secondary person who succumbed to their injuries, did they have a weapon on them?
There was a weapon recovered from the scene.
A gun?
A firearm recovered from the scene.
So he exchanged gunfire with the
There was an exchange of gunfire with task force members, correct.
Okay, and then we're also kind of seeing that there's a bunch of cars and kind of a crash that looks like happened. Can you talk about that at all?
The certain elements of the investigation can't really be disclosed at this time, but again, we will be providing further updates as soon as they become available.
And the Safe Streets Task Force, can you kind of tell us what they do?
The task force itself was comprised to investigate some of the more serious crimes that are happening in and around the city of Hartford. As I mentioned earlier, the task force itself is comprised of members from various local police departments, state police, as well as the FBI.
And do you know which of those agencies was on scene actually involved in this incident?
So all three agencies were on scene. All three agencies were on scene, but I can say with absolute certainty that members of the Hartford Police Department and state police did not discharge their firearms during the course of this investigation.
So where
the
does that
FBI
leave?
agents fired their weapons.
Again, please understand that the task force itself is comprised of multiple law enforcement, multiple local police departments. So in terms of the identity of the officers that fired, that information won't be disclosed at this time.
It wasn't Hartford, it wasn't Connecticut State Police.
Correct.
So just to get
So
clear,
who else
after
would have been
this
there?
arrest, after the incident, all three organizations were on scene.
The local, like I said, the task force itself comprised of multiple local police departments, state police, as well as the FBI.
And when you say, so a local person could be someone from a different town?
Correct.
So that it's comprised of, it's a neighborhood watch.
Correct.
essentially.
Correct.
What about the distance? There's so much road blocked off for this. Why is that?
Anytime there's an investigation such as this, what we hope to do as law enforcement officers is to immediately secure the scene, conduct a neighborhood canvass if need be, speak to and identify witnesses that may have observed the events that transpired, obtain any type of relevant video footage so that we can compile that information and ultimately present to the state's attorney's office.
And are you able to tell us what that initial suspect was wanted for?
That initial suspect was wanted for felony possessions charges. I'll try to take 2 more questions at this point.
Are you guys receiving help from the FBI in this investigation?
Please understand that this is a joint investigation. The FBI, state police, as well as local law enforcement agencies are all working on this.
Does this jurisdiction stay within state?
State police will be taking lead on this investigation and providing
Under
all
the
our
guidance
providing all of our findings to the New Haven State's Attorney's Office.
This is Patrick Griffin, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Thank.
The subject that passed away, anything to say like age or anything like
In terms of the identity of the subject, I won't be providing that at this time. Again, we're waiting for the next of kin notifications to be made, as well as the autopsy to be concluded. Thank you guys so much. And again, I will be hoping to provide you guys with more information as it becomes available.
Possession felony is possession of firearm or illegal substance.
Again, as soon as I have that information, I'll be able to provide you.
Thank you.